Hi, my name is Jim Brees from GreenGrowth CPAs, and today I want to talk to you about managing the flow of funds within your cannabis business. Now, most cannabis business owners have no clue how cash should move around their business because they don't have a CFO who can direct them properly. And at GreenGrowth CPAs, we can give cannabis operators the ability to outsource their CFO duties to us so that they can focus on crushing their daily operations. Now, in this video, I want to walk you through one aspect of this outsourced CFO service: fund flow. But before I do, I need to let you know that the information contained in this video is meant for guidance purposes only and not as professional legal or tax advice. Further, it does not give any personalized legal, tax, investment, or any business advice in general. So with that out of the way, let's hop right in. Cannabis operators take a lot of risk by entering into this growing market, with financial risk being the biggest liability of them all. And one way to mitigate that risk is to outsource your CFO duties to a qualified accounting and finance expert like GreenGrowth CPAs. A cannabis-focused CPA firm like us, we can cover your monthly and quarterly financial reporting requirements for your business and for the investors. We can help you set up your accounting system and monitor your cash flow, making sure there are no leaks or vulnerabilities that the IRS could target if you do go through an audit. But why should you actually outsource your fund flow management? Well, being proactive about managing your funds can make or break your business. Now, most cannabis business operators have probably never taken in more than $35,000 cash in 1 week in any other type of business. And right, most of this money is coming in cash. And it's also unlikely that as a business owner, they've been challenged to split that cash between different safes, different bank accounts, or different other places to put it efficiently. And further, some vendors actually require that bills get paid electronically. So while cannabis companies don't have access to the banking system in the traditional sense, you will need to set up a personal or business account in some way. And managing that flow of funds can be an extreme challenge because it's something that needs to be done every day or at least every week. So again, in this video, I will give you some tips on how to split up your cash as it comes in, as well as tips for managing the fund flow within your cannabis business efficiently. And the goal of this video is to offer you some help with budgeting and allocating your cash so that you don't miss any important bills and can keep track of your money at any given time. So to start, you need to learn how to divide your cash efficiently and divide it properly. And you may ask, well, why does it matter? How do I split up my cash? What's the big deal about that? Well, first, managing your cash among different safes and accounts ensures that you know exactly where your money is at all times. And second, it will make it easier for you to reconcile all of your accounts for reporting purposes and to pay your bills on time. Plus, in the event that your cannabis business is audited, you'll be able to show a clear system that prevents fraud and theft. On the screen now is an illustration of how money should actually initially flow within your cannabis business. And as you can see, when cash comes in, some of it will be placed into the safe and some are going to be sent to a bank. Again, because some of these bills that you have need to be paid electronically. And the best way to estimate how much money goes where is to look at which bills need to be paid in each way. How much for electronic bills and how much can be paid out in cash. And you should keep a list of each bill and how it's paid versus cash or card, because this will dictate, again, the initial allocation of funds between the two depositories, either your safe or your bank account. Now, as your business grows, you'll need to update the fund flow and make it a bit more robust. So on the screen now, you can see that you should update the split based on if you have an electronic payment processor or a significant increase in sales. You'll notice that we've added an additional bank account or credit union account on there, as well as an off-site safe to help keep less money on the property, and we'll talk about that later in this video here. The key to managing your funds is to make sure that you don't run into a position where an electronic bill is due and you don't have enough money in the bank. The last thing you need is a service being canceled or something that's important being taken away from your business because you can't pay the bill for that service. And we suggest that you budget each week how much needs to go into the bank and put those numbers on paper so you know ahead of time how much you actually need to allocate. Our next tip is to keep as little cash as possible at your place of business. Now, as you know, holding cash on site creates serious security risk. Everyone knows, or most people know, that you're operating an almost all cash business, so you're like a sitting duck if you have too much cash on the property. And you may have very rigorous security SOPs in place, but unfortunately, it's not the external you have to worry about, because 90% of losses reported at cannabis dispensaries come from employee theft. Internal theft is where most most of this money is peeled off or diverted. So as a rule of thumb, make sure you only keep enough cash on site to fund your day-to-day operating expenses. And that means that all cannabis operators should have at least one other off-site safe. And only the business owner and their lawyer should know the location and how to access any secondary safes you have for your cannabis business. Now, if you have more than $300,000 or $500,000 in cash on hand at that external safe, then consider splitting it up into multiple off-site safes to spread out the risk. And one last thing, for any safes on site, use only drop safes. And this means that anyone can add to it, but only one person, which is the owner, can take things out of the safe. It's a great security measure, and it's something you should immediately implement at your at least on-site safes. Next, you should start accepting digital payments such as debit cards. Now, despite the Cole Memorandum, there are still ways to get a bank account as a cannabis business operator, but it's not simple. And it's something that we do for our clients all the time, so if you feel confused, get in touch with us for help with getting a bank account. We can also help you and connect you with a merchant processor that allows you to accept debit cards. And cannabis operators can even add digital payments through a debit card solution like authorize.net. Now, this is an important move because adding digital payments can significantly increase your sales and also deposit funds directly into your bank account. So this helps you avoid making large cash deposits and provides a better customer experience when you add a POS system that accepts debit cards and allows digital payments for your users. The next tip, I believe, is by far the absolute most important. You have to create strict internal controls and enforce them to a T. To be compliant with industry regulations, avoid business shrinkage, and meet the expectations of your investors, strict internal controls around the flow of cash are necessary for all cannabis business operators. And enforcing these controls will keep your business out of financial trouble and build trust within you and your employees. Now, standard operating procedures are necessary for cannabis operators to cut down, again, also on bookkeeping mistakes to help prevent fraud and keep your business running smoothly. So here's a good example of fund flow checks and balances. Now, if the manager is going to be counting the cash, which is something they should be doing at least daily and sometimes multiple times a day, especially if you have large rushes depending on where you're at, make sure that she or he is keeping a cash log. And the owner should check in randomly with that cash log at least once a week and do spot checks on that cash log. And if you find something inconsistent or dishonest, you must take swift and decisive action against the management. Some kind of disciplinary action, whether, asking them, hey, what's going on here? Why is this not jiving with this? Again, look at the gravity of it. If it's $1 or $2 versus hundreds or even thousands of dollars, you have to put it into context and take the right action for that. And strong internal controls and documentation will decrease the liability of your business if an audit comes your way. Again, don't let this neglectful behavior grow because it will bleed into other parts of your business operation. It'll erode trust with your employees and open you up to huge risks later, again, if an audit comes your way. And since cannabis businesses are 5 times, 10 times more likely to be audited by the IRS, you should do everything you can to protect your business by implementing SOPs and having ramifications if people do not follow those SOPs. Lastly, silo your accounting as much as possible. Now, this is something to benefit your accountants, but also you. If you accept any payments electronically, then split your accounting to keep up clean records and capture clean data to help you make better business decisions down the road. You should be able to glance at your finances and know and have a gut check, hey, how's the financial health of your business? Or be able to look at the financial reports, whether the monthly, quarterly, annually, if you want to do weekly reports from your accountant, hey, what's the financial health of your business? But the accountant cannot create those reports if the data is very messy or it just, there's so much moving around that it's not clean and we don't know what's going on. We suggest that you separate all of your wholesale and retail purchases by processing those payments through different merchant processors. The simple reason for this is that you pay different taxes for each of these different types of transactions. And when you keep these transactions separate from others, it makes it very easy to calculate your tax accurately. Again, if you have everything all jumbled up together, it's going to be very difficult for the accountant to tell you how much you're going to have to pay. Next, we suggest that you use a separate merchant processor for each billing or sales system within your business. So for example, for retail transactions, use Shopify and process all your payments through PayPal. For wholesale, use authorize.net or a different PayPal account. This just helps keep things spread out and very clean data. This will also spread the risk by making sure that not one person or entity has full control over your funds. And again, it also makes it easier to sort the data. And finally, it reduces your tax preparation costs. Accountants are not cheap by nature because there's a lot of work that has to go into it. But the more work that you have the accountant do by, filing their different transactions and this and that, it just increases the cost of your tax prep. So if you can keep cleaner data to give to your accountant, you're going to significantly reduce your tax preparation costs. And one final tip for using merchant processors: never, ever, 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 ever pay bills from a merchant processor account, and this includes your PayPal accounts. The reason for this is because it will be incredibly difficult to keep track of the cash flow, and it makes your books extremely messy and confusing to yourself, to your accountant, and to your investors. So instead, you should set up a separate account and pay from there if needed. Now, hopefully this video has brought you some value and helped you get some ideas on how to manage the flow of funds within your cannabis business. And if you think it may be helpful to outsource your CFO duties for your cannabis company, then you can get in touch with GreenGrowth CPAs by reaching out to us via our website at greengrowthcpas.com or give us a call at 800-674-9050. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.